Good evening and welcome to the Town of Douglas Conservation Meeting for Monday, May 19th. This meeting is being recorded and broadcasted by local access programming and with remote participation available as provided on our agenda. Is there anyone here recording tonight's meeting? I hereby call the meeting to order at 6:30. Members are in attendance. Roll call, please.
Brendan Doyle.
Kate Thompson.
Mike Rocco.
Jim Foran. Mark and Josiah have been excused. All right, and we'll start with the discussion for 218 Northwest Main Street update.
Something about fruit trees, right? I think that the owner wanted to give an update to the commission, not necessarily me.
Okay. Is anyone online for 218 Northwest Main Street?
I thought it was Justin, but I could be wrong.
Which one are we on?
The first one, 218.
Yeah, is that Justin?
Maybe that was another one. That was 182. I mixed up the numbers.
All right, well, we can table this till later in case if he shows up. So we'll move to number 2 for 279 Southeast Main Street. Plan change, possible votes tonight.
Did you say 182 Southwest Main Street?
279 Southwest Main Street, number 2, discussion.
Oh, very tough. Yep, go ahead. All right, good evening, John Grenier. And, yeah, on behalf of New Sherwood Marine Farms.
How are you guys?
Good. There is an existing order of conditions for Lot 2. Oh, yeah. There's an existing order of conditions on Lot 2, which is 279 Southeast Main Street. Lot 1 is located off the page here. There is what may be a right-of-way between Lot 1 and Lot 2, and here is the currently proposed Lot 2. Originally, the house that was placed on Lot 2, it was shifted a little bit further towards Lot 1. The issue is, and we had picked up on it, is that if a road does go through there, Lot 2 becomes a corner lot. So you have frontage on Southeast Main Street, you have frontage on what would be the new road. So where the house was placed, it would not have been, it would have been within the front yard setback. So based on that, we shifted the house over just a little bit so that we would meet the front yard setback. It's like 6 inches off of, what would be the required setback. So we shifted it a little bit towards the resource area. And in order to do that, we're maintaining the 50-foot buffer, so there's still no disturb there.
Okay.
There's a front porch on the house, so at the edge of the front porch, we're proposing just a small, like barely 4-foot retaining wall there, which would flatten out this whole area that's adjacent to the 50-foot buffer. That's all flat. So it'll step the grade down. Everything else functionally is the same. Septic is still in the backyard. We relocated some recharge chambers further outside of the buffer. The grading in the back is primarily the same. Actually, we pulled in the limit of work a little bit in the backyard. The only area where we do have some additional work, and again, this is all outside the 50-foot buffer, is just in the front yard. And the reason we did that is if you have the front porch and you're going to have a walkway that goes out to the driveway, you don't want to have a 3-to-1 slope right there and, take a tumble. So we just kind of smoothed out the grading in the front yard a little bit. So that's a little bit more work. in the front yard, but again, everything's outside the 100-foot buffer. So I discussed this with Brandon a week or so ago.
Something like that.
Something like that. So we just wanted to come in and see if this is, we'd like to call it a minor change, but just update the plan so that everything's reflected on what is shown, and move forward. Everything functions primarily the same. The driveway's still on the far side. Everything is just primarily just a little bit more grading in the front yard, just so that we have some smooth off grading, so you can have a flat area for the
transition, yeah.
walkway. You know, and that's it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
some quick history on this site. These plans were originally developed by Decreed Engineering, who's now no longer working for New Sherburne, hired Mr. Grenier. This site has already received an order of conditions and an amendment. The plans before you right now up on the screen are the amended plans that were approved. They were done by Decreed Engineering. And this is what the limit of work looked like, this straight line with the little black dots, okay?
Yep.
So that's the second plan, right? The first plan, and then came this plan, which is the amended. They came in for an amended order of conditions. Then Mr. Grenier was hired, and he came in with his own plan that looked like this, which is slightly different, but I want you to notice that if I toggle between the two, the limit of work right here, and I'm focusing really in this area right here, because everything in the back is pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same, okay? But then, so I approved this as a minor field change. But then recently, on May 5th, I got this plan, which changes things up for a fourth time. And what I want you to notice here is that on this plan, the limit of disturbance comes down, then it takes a jog to the right, and then down, whereas this plan now kind of kitty corners. So there's an expansion in the limit of work. And whenever there's an expansion in the limit of work, I do not personally take it upon myself to approve a minor field change. I think that's something that needs to come to the board. So the question is, there's going to be a slight expansion of the limit of work near the road. The wetland is over here on the right-hand side, so the wetland's over in this corner. And the buffer zones, the 100-foot buffer zones right here. Can you see my cursor?
Yep.
You're cutting through the house.
Yeah, it kind of cuts through the house right here. And then goes down this way. Then you get what, the 50 feet, 50 foot, 25 foot. So they're at least 50 feet away. So they're going to be working within 50 to 100 feet and creating this kitty corner so they can get the grading that they need, because they needed to shift the house over. And you explained it because of the
Become a corner lot.
Oh, right, you don't want to leave yourself some room to wiggle over there and not pin yourself into a
right.
corner.
And I just wish that the Decreed had thought about this to begin with.
We don't have like overlays, do we? So you can kind of see the,
Well, I can toggle between the two. The best I try to line them up, but I never did an overlay. Let me try that. No, that's as close as I'm gonna get. So you got this here, and this here. So the driveway still comes along this side of the property and goes to the garage. Well, this one is still on this side of the driveway, but it's the configuration is not different on the left-hand side of the building.
the house looks different too, right?
It is.
It is, and I guess the design has changed.
It had to because it wouldn't fit the 50-foot setback on the
So
left side. So we
it's
changed the house
narrower, a
design.
little deeper. So the foot, like the overall footprint, the other one was, like I said, longer along the frontage, along the street. This one's a little more boxy.
So are you saying there is going to be a street?
Well, that's a proposed avenue. We talked to the planning board about that as access into the area of 275 acres for future. So it's a 60-foot width that we left there for that
50.
reason.
I think it was 50.
50 is the setback for the house, I think 60.
No, well, the right of way, I think
Yeah.
is typically 50.
Okay,
Or
well,
whatever.
we can measure that out, it's either or.
Right.
But that was by design, and that was a suggestion that was made last year, year before, so we tried to hold to it. What we didn't understand is when my wife and the real estate agent chose the house to go on there, that it violated the 50-foot setback on the right-hand side, so we had to start over. So we chose a different plan, and then we had it plotted, and it wasn't plotted right at the 50, it was at 48, so we had to move it over a couple more feet. And that's the final result of that change, for that reason.
So if that road, could this all change again if that road?
No.
No,
And-
this, we changed it now so that it didn't have to change, we didn't have to ask for variance, that it's.
So if the road goes in, you're good to
Then you're
go?
good to go.
Versus
Yeah.
you wouldn't have been if,
Right.
It would have been a
correct.
problem. It would have been a problem.
okay.
Right.
Yeah,
And we caught it.
Zooming on the locust map that shows where a potential road would go in the future.
Okay.
And the purpose of putting the road there is that there's, in that section, other sections of Southeast Main Street, you'd have wetland crossings and more, it's closer in buffer zone. That's not to say that there may not be other buffer zone areas to work, but that's the least
Right.
invasive
That's
in terms
the
of buffer
location.
zone work.
And the site distance. There's ample site distance in both directions.
Because the further you go, is that to the right, where there's other ways to get to the back, there's a lot of intricate wetlands and intermittent streams and other things that you'd have to contend with on other sections of Southeast Maine. That's the least intrusive in terms of, okay, overall, where should we have a location to get into the site? That's the best location.
I mean, I don't personally have a problem with what you've done. I'm more concerned with, do we hear from you again if the road isn't approved for where you're
Well, now you
proposing
won't.
it?
Now you won't, because now that's,
But what if they don't accept the road, I'm saying? What
Then
if-
it remains the property part of the 275 acres.
So you would never put a road,
That's it.
okay. got it.
yeah,
It doesn't have.
So they're not going to shift the road one way 10 feet, one way or the other?
no.
No, I don't think there's any reason for that.
But you don't know?
Well,
Well, we can't now.
yeah, that's it.
He's looking to, well, Lot 1 it is what it is, that's built. And Lot 2, looking to move forward and get that, so now you're.
So, okay, so you build the house, and then at which point, the road either goes right where it's proposed now, or if they don't accept it, you don't put a road there?
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
What's the difference in the limit of work area, and is there any disturbance, like additional, that would need to be accounted for?
Slightly more. It's basically, there's a kitty corner right here,
Yep.
right? So whatever the area of this triangle would be, and you can
Yep.
see that there's going to be grading in here as well, so.
Yep.
There's going to be a little bit of fill brought in to the buffer zone between 15 and 100 feet.
Right.
What that, do you have any ideas?
Square footage wise,
Yeah.
you said, well, it's no more than 20 feet, so if it was a square, 20 by 20 would be 400 square feet, so half that, say worst case, a couple hundred square feet?
The wattle that was in place from the original plan is still there, and I'm going to try to work within that. I don't want to go over it.
Right.
You know, we're
And-
going to put that stone wall in that we discussed, and then put the foundation, backfill the foundation, and if I don't have to disturb anything, I won't.
Right.
So we'll take a look at the grading then, but this is the maximum that
Yeah.
we would have to do, and I don't think that we're going to have to push the limit.
And the reason we did that, see where it says porch in the front of the house?
Yep.
I left a little bit of flat area, so if you're going to have a front walkway and go out towards the driveway, you have a little bit of room to, a flat area to put a walkway there and then slope it off and keep a gentle slope. Instead of, if you pulled it in, you'd end up with a sharper slope and, you know, more potential issues for it not taking right away and maybe rotting a little
One of my
bit.
questions to Mr. Grenier was, will you still be able to have easy access to the backyard? Because the original plan had some room along this side of the house, you know, and this side of the house, whereas now the new one, you've got the house and the porch really close to the limit of work. And the answer is there's still going to be plenty of room to get around the back on this side of the house.
Yeah, any contractors that would have to go back there for a siding repair or a roofing repair, they use ladders and staging, which you carry by hand.
And they have access from the driveway side. If you had to
And
go in there with whatever,
also, the front porch is a deck-style porch. It only has one pier on the corner holding up the framing. It's not a foundation.
so to your point, the access is from the driveway side around.
Right, and there's going to be now a retaining wall
Yeah?
right here,
That grade, yeah,
right? So that kind of acts as a stop
correct.
Yeah.
to prevent lawn creep from going in here. So that makes, you know, I told him, give us 5 feet
Yeah.
of room, and you made that adjustment. in order-
You told me to hold off for now until when I said, you want me to make that change right now? But, so I'll bump that out a little bit just to make sure it's 5 feet. That's a couple of
Just in
feet
order to
off.
build the wall,
Yeah.
you need about 5 feet at the bottom of the wall for just the workers to do their thing.
Yeah. So what we've done in the past is, obviously, we dig the line where the stone wall is going, and we provide crushed stone for a base for the wall. And then any of the stones are pushed from the inside, and there's only footwork going on the very outside of the wall, placing the stones in place. Everything's handed over, so it's not a big disturbance. It's really limited footprint within a couple of feet.
But we'll keep 5 feet there just for, again, for foot traffic, temporary.
Questions?
So, any discussion, or do you have any?
The question
Questions?
here is, do you feel comfortable approving this plan tweak as a minor field change, or do you think it's something that needs to go through another amendment to the order of conditions to make it more formal?
I mean, what's a normal field change? So we're talking 400 square feet or less, right? It doesn't seem like a big change to me. Is that, but relatively
There's
speaking?
no right or wrong answer.
What was the number where you said, I feel like I should bring this to the board?
1 square foot. Well, whenever, like, the commission takes a lot of care to frame the limit of work, right? And then you vote on that, we write up an order of conditions, and then they come back and say, we want to expand it. I don't think that's something for me to decide as your agent. I think that's something that needs to come back to you. For stuff that they want to like rearrange within the limit of work that was already approved upon, that, you know, I do those, as long as it's not too major, like inside, you know, like turning everything upside down. Yeah, I might come back to you, but like, okay, we need to turn the house 10 degrees or something like that, that's fine. But anytime you expand the limit of work, I don't feel comfortable just doing it. I don't think it's appropriate either.
I'll work within the buffer zone that's allotted. We have wattle in place. I'll keep the wattle where it is. I'll work within that line, because we're only talking a few feet over there. So I'll stay where I am. In the front yard, I don't need to do it.
Good call.
So did we just not, are we saying we're not going to change?
I just,
So we can
He
either
doesn't
do
want-
it as a minor
if it's an-
condition.
If it's an issue,
Well, I think that's what we're discussing,
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
it's an issue or not.
I feel it's an
And-
issue.
right.
So you're saying if it is an issue, you're okay not changing it, but if it isn't an issue, you'd like to just keep it as,
Right, exactly. So
Okay.
I had a building permit on this lot at once upon a time, and we determined that the house wasn't going to work with the 50-foot setback. So we've been working towards trying to get our building permit back for a couple of months now. And we're down to the, you know, if it was going to be an issue, we would have came prepared with whatever. And we came prepared with what we thought was going to be sufficient to be able to move forward. And I just would like to move forward. So
So-
if that line is an issue, the wattle has already been placed, the clearing has already been done, and if it's an issue, I don't have to disturb that.
so the best thing to do is just make a motion and see if we approve it or not then. If I'm-
Yeah. If you feel comfortable with it, say I make a motion to approve this as a minor field change.
I make a motion to approve this as a minor field change.
Do I have a second?
So,
Second.
Kate gets the second. She beat Mike by half a second. She beat Mike.
the
Second,
third.
Mike.
So we'll do a roll call for a minor condition,
Minor field change.
minor field change for 279 Main Street. To approve it, and we'll just add the wattle, where that wattle that's there now, not to go past it then.
Well, then,
No, we're going to move the
no,
wattle to.
we're going to move the wattle just so we can have that,
So
the
what
gentler
everybody
off
approved was
grading.
The drawing right here.
Yeah.
That one right there.
That's what everybody approved,
Yeah.
right here.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I have a roll call?
Sorry,
Go ahead.
what everybody approved, but are we also moving the 5 foot that you were talking about, the 5 foot width by the?
Just off the wall, so
Yeah.
they can have some foot traffic there. Yeah.
Yep.
So increasing the width of that space between the retaining wall and the?
To a total of 5 feet.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Which will be replanted on the other side of the wall anyways.
Yep.
All right, do I have a roll call?
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Rocco, aye.
Jim Farr, aye.
Okay. Let's go before somebody changes their mind.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Do you, is there paperwork for me for us to sign?
The minor field change, there is no paperwork. I will make a memo,
Okay,
and it'll be put in the folder.
okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yep.
The reason I was asking about the area is if it's within the 50-foot to 100-foot
Mm-hmm.
buffer zone, does it need to have, do you need to have like the fix of any disturbed area? Like, do you
No,
need?
no,
okay.
only when you're in the wetland itself do you have to do the replication.
Replication,
And they're
thank you.
still
It's not
technically,
Yeah, that's,
renovation, replication.
and they're still technically out of the 50-foot.
Yes,
right, that was kind of a saving grace, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I have a follow-up though on that.
Yep.
So how do we monitor whether they actually do? Like, do you go out and
They're
inspect it
eventually-
afterwards?
Yeah, they're eventually going to need a certificate of compliance, which requires an as-built plan. So we'll be able to compare.
But we just allowed them to modify the area, their workable area essentially. That you go out and check to make sure they put it where they said they're going to put it? Or do we just assume they're going to do it?
We assume that people are adults and act responsibly. And if not, then when it comes time for certificate of compliance, you can do what needs to be done.
Okay.
All right.
I do a pre-construction meeting before they break ground. So we go through basically the ground rules of the permit,
Okay.
so everybody has an understanding. But then from there, if I'm driving by, I will check it out, but otherwise, we trust people to be responsible.
Get it.
Okay. All right,
So is this a negative or a
no, that was just a minor.
Minor field change.
what?
That was a minor field change. They just wanted to make a small change.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to new business. Can someone want to make so I'll open the hearing, and I need someone to make a motion to waive the reading.
Motion to waive the reading.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Art Greco, aye.
Jim Foran, aye. All right, let's see, request for determination of applicability for Clarissa Jeffrey at 182 Southwest Main Street, path/shed pad, map 226, lot 13. Possible votes.
That's you.
It's Mr. Boyce.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Justin Boyce. I'm the owner of the company Dukescapes. My partner Clarissa is here with me. We're here on behalf of 182 Southwest Main Street. What the homeowner is attempting to do is install approximately a 30-foot crushed stone walkway with separation fabric underneath, and then they're going to be doing approximately a 25 by 25 foot crushed stone pad, at which time they're going to be installing, I believe he said, a 120 foot square foot shed. When we looked at the property, if you pull up the GIS card, you can see on the south side there is wetlands. I wheeled it out, I surveyed it from what looked to be the apparent edge of the wetlands up to where we would be conducting the work, and it was approximately 65 feet. From the edge of the wetlands. We intend to use silt fence to stop any erosion, but that's basically the gist of the project. We will be removing a couple of small, very, very small pine saplings that are in the area.
Okay, let me bring this up.
I'm sorry?
I'm bringing this up.
Okay. The entryway for the crushed stone walkway is going to be approximately, I believe it was about 25 feet west of the existing driveway.
25 feet west of the existing driveway. Okay.
So that driveway that's on the screen there, that's one of the driveways, and if you move towards the right-hand side, there's another driveway. It's kind of like a horseshoe. So we wheeled it out about 25 feet from that second driveway.
Yep. So there is a wetland in the back. So behind the house, the land slopes down, and at the bottom of the house is the wetland.
Correct.
And yeah, I would agree with Mr. Boyce that where they're doing the work, where they want to put in a little gravel, driveway, walkway that goes to a shed.
Yep.
Is going to be, in that spot, it's going to be more than 50 feet away, which is the important part. So, how many trees do you have to take down, Justin?
I think it was maybe like 8 to 10, and they're tiny little saplings, like maybe 8-10 foot tall at most. We're not going to be doing any major tree removal. Minimal soil disruption, and like I said, we'll be laying in a geotextile and covering it up with crushed stone, and then I'm going to be seeding kind of any of the surrounding areas that we disturb, just to kind of secure the soils.
Okay. When I was out there, I think I might have been a little too far to the west, but there looked like an old path.
Yes.
Is that the area?
That is the area, yes. It looks like it was cleared at one point. I wouldn't even see there's no juvenile trees out there, but there was certainly no mature trees or anything like that.
Okay, so I want to show you that, because I think that's more than 25 feet away from that driveway.
Okay, perhaps
Here's that little path that you want to utilize, right?
Where are you showing it?
I'm now, I gotta share it. Yeah, I know. Here we go.
Yes, correct. Yep.
Okay. And then I look left, and at the bottom of this slope is the wetland. And I pasted it out.
Correct.
I pasted it out I paced it out, and from the wetland to the street, it's about 80 feet,
Okay.
okay? And you want to come in, what, into this area right here?
Yes, I don't want to go, I don't even really want to go to where it starts to slope down. Was gonna stay approximately 5 to 10 feet closer to the road from where that crest of the ridge is, keeping away from that slope.
Okay,
So perhaps my measurements from, the street inward were inaccurate. I was more focused on the wetlands when we were there looking down to see those.
right, the thing is the wetland becomes more narrow the further west you get. It keeps on going closer and closer to the road.
Yeah.
And in fact, here's a good, there's some kind of, I don't even know what this is. You see this bar right here?
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of old, I don't know, rack or something.
Yep.
That's definitely within 50 feet of the wetland right there.
The rack.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I say I paced out 80 feet, so which means you only have about 30 feet from the street right here before you hit the 50-foot no structure zone.
Yep.
So I'm a little suspicious of the placement of the shed being 50 feet.
I'm happy to keep it outside of that 50 foot. If we need to put it a little bit closer to the street to stay completely out of that 50 foot, that's not an issue.
Okay. I would feel more comfortable if the wetland were marked out right here, honestly.
You'd like delineation of the wetland?
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily, I don't think it's something you necessarily have to have a professional do.
Okay.
If you're okay with it, I can go out there and just mark it out myself, and you can,
Okay.
and you can pull tape.
Okay. Yeah.
And,
I'm happy to meet you, and we can work through it together.
right, and then you can see if that's an appropriate place to put it, or if you need to pull it closer to the house.
Okay.
Can we continue this for one more meeting?
Sure.
No?
Yeah. All right, so we'll continue to,
So you're going to meet them out there and trying to come to agreement on where the workable
Where the
space is?
Yeah, where the wetland is and therefore the workable spaces.
all right, so that'll be for June 2nd, 2025 agenda.
Thank you.
Will we need to repost in the newspaper for that meeting, or?
Nope, just show up. It's automatically continued, no notification required.
Okay, and then Brandon, I will hear from you via email when you'd like to meet out there. I can be pretty flexible for you.
Yep, it's either going to be me or Samantha.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
It is Samantha today.
Thank you very much.
I look great tonight, don't I?
So I was confused. I didn't know what to say to you. Is it Brandon?
You're looking good, Brandon.
All right, so we will open up the public hearing for 69 Woodland Road, in-ground pool, map 237, lot 22. Do I have someone to make a motion to waive the reading?
Motion to waive the reading.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Rocco, aye.
Jim Farr, aye.
So what they want to do is install an in-ground pool in the backyard.
Okay.
So this backyard, this house was approved, and a certificate of compliance was issued for the house construction. And is there anyone online for this?
Hey, how are you guys?
Good, please introduce yourself and who you with.
Hey, so my name's Lucas Sanchez. I'm a co-owner of Blue Pool Inc. I'm the one who's building the pool at 69 Woodland Circle.
Okay. and they want to put it in the backyard. You see there's a row of boulders along the periphery, which is the approved limit of work, and they want to put the pool right in here. In fact, they have stakes at the approximate corners of where the pool is to go.
Yes. The edge of the pool is currently 17 feet and 5 inches away from the foundation of his house.
Right.
And I think from the buffer zone, from the wetland buffer zone, given a rough guess, it's probably like 60 to 70 feet away from wetland.
I agree that,
Let's just say, so we're within the 100, but I think we're past 50.
correct, they are more than 50 feet away with the structure
Yeah.
that they want to build.
And where the pool is going to go, it's within the rock wall.
Right, it's going to be within. So,
Yeah.
so I think that they meet all the bylaw setback requirements. It's within a backyard that's already approved when the house was approved to begin with. Whenever there's a pool proposed, my question is always, where is the pump-out water going to go? And I believe that you approved one at the last meeting with certain conditions. So my recommendation would be to issue a negative determination with those same conditions.
I don't believe this is the first meeting I've had with you guys.
We'll be gentle.
I don't remember exactly.
So the last one we did was for holding the water when draining the pool to be stored in containers and/or it to be used to drain naturally and not to flow directly into the wetlands. So for our last meeting, they would have buckets and they would, it was for an above ground pool.
Yeah.
But they put the water and then it could just slowly.
Yeah, I don't
If you guys are worried too much, so right now I'm giving him a sand filter. Whenever it's time to backwash, and you'll probably have to do it once or twice a year at most. It definitely, it'll happen during pollen season. And let's just say probably right before closing. He probably doesn't lose more than 2 inches of water in his pool. If you guys are really worried regarding the water that it could potentially go into the wetlands, I can give him a cartridge filter instead of a sand filter. And this way, when it comes time to backwash the filter, I don't have to drain any water. It pretty much just opens up the filter and I hose it down within the confines of his backyard, if that's an issue.
I'm not worried. I know, because I have a pool. I met the owner, and he wants this to be a saltwater pool, which I think is better than a chlorine pool.
Correct. Well, it's a chlorine pool regardless.
Right, it turns the salt into chlorine, but it's still, I think, it's better. And then there's a sand filter, and then once a week, plus or minus, you flush that out. So the question
No, not once a week. Not necessarily. There's a pressure gauge on the filter. When that builds up, that's when it's time for you to backwash. That's why I said it really depends on how he takes care of the pool, but it'll happen during pollen because pollen won't be able to get broken down in the filter as good, and so the pressure gauge will go up. So during pollen season, he may have to backwash it once or twice, but once he gets the pool cleaned and he maintains it, it's rare that he has to backwash it. And that's why I said most likely he'll do it towards the end of the season. Because I usually backwash people's filters when I close their pool. Blue courtesy.
Well, I guess I need to go home and check my filter because we opened it up last week.
I learned something new.
Yeah.
Take my number down, I can help you guys out. I've learned everything for openings.
It's good business.
With mine, I guess the magic numbers, you want your pressure around 15. And if you start
It depends on how many equipment you have. Generally for me, anywhere from 15 to 22 is perfectly fine. Once it gets past 24 and up, that's where the filter is telling you to backwash it.
Okay, well, may I get up to 18, I want to bring it back down. So whenever you get up to that magic number, you want to backwash your filter. And
You rinse first. Do you have a sand filter?
I do. So
You rinse first. You rinse first for 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, then you backwash until the glass bowl is clear. I take it a step further and I rinse again for 5 seconds before putting it back to filter. My father, he just goes right to filter.
Yeah, that's right. I do right to filter, and then we hit rinse until that little glass thing is clear, and then I put it back to normal. So
Yeah,
I guess
that's
you
how I
rinse.
do it. I take the extra
You're getting
step.
free advice tonight.
Yeah.
So you got to rinse first and then wash and then
Backwash.
backwash
Yeah.
and then do the
Yeah,
rinse
because what
again.
happens is when you rinse, the sand or the glass medium, depending what you have, it's compressed in by the pressure and the debris are on top. When you rinse it, it loosens everything up and everything goes, it gets spiraling on top of the dome. When you backwash it, that's when you let the debris out. If you just backwash it right away, yes, you're getting the filter clean, but not as good.
Makes sense.
So you must rinse first, then
Rinse first, then
backwash,
backwash.
Then rinse.
and then rinse.
Then rinse and then filter.
See, I thought you were just
Yes.
volunteering your time, but you're learning so much.
Just another reason why I'll never get a pool again.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
No, but
It
so
is.
here's the thing. You guys build a pool, and then let me take care of it. Why go through all the stress when you already have
Yeah,
enough stress?
true. So what was, in our last meeting, what were the special requirements that we put on that?
Basically, to construct a sump hole that the backwash goes into, because it's going to connect to a hose.
Right.
The hose is going to connect to your central flow, then that goes somewhere. And let me tell
Right.
you, when you turn that backwash on, it flies out of there. And you don't want that going into the woods,
Right.
into the buffer zone. So it's better if you have a good-sized sump hole that you can put it into, and then it'll just drain into the ground.
Yeah, I thought we said, I don't remember the specifics, but I thought it was either dry well type of thing, or I thought in her case, she was going to bottle it or something. Yeah,
think she
she
had
was
like a
putting it in
bucket.
containers.
Yeah.
But
That makes
this is what she offered to do. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing, but
You
I'm
had
pretty
the
sure.
notes, right, Jim?
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, that
was-
sounds like pie in the sky to me. I would.
To be stored in containers and/or to be used to drain naturally and not to flow directly into the wetlands.
Yeah.
So she was just going to put it in containers and then move it
I think she had.
to the.
Hers was small,
She
I
had like
believe.
To the dry well, but it was an above-ground pool. It was just something small.
Koi pond insert, I think, that she was going to use. But, anyways.
Yeah, it was,
I recommend it like a sump hole or a dry well, which is more or less the same thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Quick question, can I, instead of doing that, can I bypass that and give him a cartridge filter? There's no need for backwashing, and he doesn't lose any water.
Cartridge filter is such a pain in the butt.
Yeah, but what's-
I was talking to was it Mr. Payne, the owner, today, and he had no problem creating a sump hole.
Okay.
I would think.
I'll let him know that.
Yeah.
And I'll let my father know too, if that's the case.
Yeah, you're digging a hole anyway, you just dig a little second hole.
Because usually whenever people ask for stuff like that, I opt in for a cartridge and they're usually fine. So for the dry well, or what's the other word you guys said?
You don't want
Sump
to know.
hole or a dry well. which-
It's simple.
Basically,
so I just make like a whole neck to it, and then I put 3/4 stone on it for drainage,
Yeah.
and run a line for the backwash.
Right.
Yeah, you basically, you dig a hole, and you're gonna cover it with your patio with a cover, so that when it's time to backwash, you take the cover off and you put the hose down into the hole, which is probably gonna have like 3/4 inch stone or something like in it, and then it just goes into that, and it infiltrates into the ground, and then you put the cover back on.
Okay, that's easy enough. I could deal with that.
That's the only thing. I've had a pool, my first pool, I had a cartridge, I hated it.
They're not the best, but out of the three, I like sand filter, especially for homeowners who don't have experience. It's less maintenance, it still gets you the same result. If you're a homeowner who has experience and knows how to operate everything, I usually give them a DE filter because they're better, but it comes with more maintenance. And it's more forgiving. I run away from cartridge unless it comes to situations like this.
Pretty right.
But I'm not a huge fan of cartridge.
Okay.
Okay.
So what is the motion we have to make now?
Well, don't forget to go to the public.
Oh, yes. Any comments from the public? Online?
Okay.
All right, so I'll make a motion to, well, I'll close the hearing so we can,
Yep.
so I'm closing the hearing and someone needs to make a motion.
Two.
The motion will either be a positive determination or a negative determination, because this is an RDA. Negative determination is actually positive, remember? Because it means that they do not have to file a notice of intent.
Got it. Make a motion to approve a negative determination?
With
With
the
the-
condition for the sump.
Yes. He said with the condition for the hole, the sub.
Sump hole.
sub-hole?
Dry well simple. I second. Oh, Mike got it, sorry.
All right, so we have a first and a
Snuck it in there.
second.
Race over here.
Do I have a roll call?
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Farn, aye.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, just out of curiosity, from here on out, pretty much, do I still have to get the approval letter from you guys and then go to the town and get this thing registered?
Well, you're going to need a building permit, I presume, right?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
You're going to need a building permit, right?
Correct, I haven't, I don't think I started that yet.
Okay,
Oh,
so before they give you a building permit, you're going to need the determination from the Conservation Commission, so you can show that to the building inspector.
Okay, and then you guys can provide that for me via email, if anything, just let me know when it's all set?
Yep, no problem.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank
Hope
you.
you guys have a good rest of your night.
Thanks, you too.
So it was Brendan made the motion, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
No.
No.
Kate.
Kate made the
And then Mike.
And then Mike seconded. Mike beat me out. You can walk home, Mike. No,
Snuck it in there.
Do we have anything to sign?
Yes, we do.
All right.
There you go.
Brandon, you just couldn't stop asking, could you? Just had to keep poking the bear.
Oh, I learned something.
Well, I did too,
Yeah.
because I always just flip it from,
Yeah, I just go,
yep.
it's a 180?
Well, so you do realize you're supposed to technically shut off the pump?
Yes, you are, because otherwise you
But-
might, yes.
I did not, and we had a new pump that was very powerful, and let me tell you, blasted the top right off.
Yeah.
So yes, either lower down the RPMs really low or shut the pump off.
When I get home tonight, I'm going to go and check the pressure gauge.
Is that a sand filter? Since we're talking about it.
Yeah, I have a sand too.
Same.
And if it's up to me, I wouldn't open the thing until like around Father's Day, because then all the pollen is gone.
Yep.
All the oak flowers are gone, and all of the red maple helicopter
Yep.
seeds are gone too. And I
Yep.
get all of that.
Smart.
You know, they do sell, it's a couple $100, a little robot that just cleans the top of it.
What?
Yeah, besides the one that does the floor and the walls.
I have that one.
Yes, but they've come down in price this year. They're a couple,
Because I'm out
yep,
there.
and it will automatically go out and
Wow.
just like collect,
Really?
yes,
It's a good Father's Day gift.
yeah.
It would be. Yeah, because
It's a skimmer.
I skimmed the pool yesterday 3 times.
And it's like you didn't even
It's
do
like I
anything.
didn't even do
I know,
anything. Yeah.
but yep. All right,
Such are the problems of,
First world problems.
all right.
Need two
I won't
robots.
proceed any further with that statement.
So Lakeshore Drive enforcement, I believe we don't have any info on it,
But
so we're,
Mr. Moran is here, thank you.
oh, okay.
If Mr. Moran would like to say anything?
Mr. Moran?
Good evening, everyone. For the record, Bob Moran, 56 Lakeshore Drive. First of all, apologies for the feedback. I was transferring from the phone to
No problem.
the computer. Second of all, thank you for the lesson on swimming pool filters. I could use that 5 years ago. And then my only question really is if there was any update from DEP. It sounds like there was not.
There is none. But Esquire Wood called me, I want to say a month ago, maybe even a little bit more.
Yep.
He was asking the same thing, and the answer is no. And context clues. The context clue is, I don't think that DEP is going to make any kind of decision unless and until there's a giant thunder boomer that drops 3 inches of rain in 1 hour and creates a total blowout that creates the same problems you did in July of 2023. Otherwise, I think they're not going to make a decision. So what Attorney Wood said was, well, maybe we file an RDA, and that will then force the Conservation Commission's hand to make a decision. And if we don't like that decision, we can appeal it to DEP, and that will force their hand to make a decision. And I said to Attorney Wood, I said, you know what, that's not a half-bad idea. If you're getting tired of waiting for DEP, then go ahead and file an RDA and force their hand.
Yeah, he shared that with me as well. And he also shared what he thought the costs of this would be. And you know, as you can imagine, you know, I'm deep into this.
Yeah.
And you know, in my opinion, in my engineer's opinion, in my attorney's opinion, in the town's consultant's original opinion, Ecotech, in my wetlands consultant's opinion, you know, this is nothing that I caused or created. So I'm a little hesitant to, you know, just keep spending money to convince neighbors and commission members that others should do something. You know, and as you know, the property, I have 11 feet to work with. That is the sum total of my access. And a berm was constructed that is over 600 feet, that nicely deposits a lot of water onto my property that has not been fixed. So I don't know that there's anything new I can offer other than, you know, a very long and protracted, frustrating process that I did not create or ask for, and I really don't want to protract it any worse than it is. You know, I'm becoming of the mind that I need to, you know, do the best I can with my property, and you know, let the others deal with it as it comes. I honestly don't know. Members of the commission and Brandon, very unfortunate and frustrating spot.
Can I ask a couple questions, Brandon? So I took the liberty of driving down that street, I don't know, a month or so ago. That place is without, it appears as though the water has no place to go except exactly where it's going under the, you know, that heavy rain condition. And it appears that they've cleared a lot of land up there fairly recently and changed that to where the water has nowhere to go but down to the street and flow down to the lake. And I'm not claiming to be a design engineer for any of this, but it does seem like it's a bigger problem than just simply the 11-foot area that where the water is flowing. So is there something the town or we should be doing, or that we're allowed to do, that kind of takes everything into perspective so that, I don't know, I guess it becomes this gentleman less of his only problem and more of a bigger problem, because it's clear it's not just one thing that's happened out there that's caused this.
Right. I suppose that the most effective thing that you could do that would trigger a chain of events that'll get things very interesting very fast is to issue an enforcement order to the lots that have been cleared up the hill and are being developed as house lots, saying that's contributing to Mr. Moran's problem down at the lake. And that then you get the response from those owners, positive or negative. And
well, if I may, I believe they're already listed because they're members of the Lakeshore Drive Homeowners Association. By proxy, they are listed. So the original enforcement order includes David Cahill, Jack Goodison, myself, and the Lakeshore Drive Homeowners Association. And you know, candidly, that hasn't caused any action yet.
So, Brandon, what the lawyer was proposing, is that something we can do without having a lawyer?
Commission can't file an RDA, no.
Well, could he do it without legal assistance?
He could, yes, he could. An RDA is pretty back of the envelope kind of an application.
So what you're saying basically,
An RDA is what?
It's a pretty much a kind of a what I call a back of the envelope application. It doesn't require a lot of detail.
So you could do it without legal counsel, I think is what we're saying.
Yes, you could.
Yeah, but the likely result of that would probably be, a site visit involving engineer and DEP, and, it would quickly add costs. And I don't want to destroy the neighborhood out here. These are my neighbors. I would like to work this out, but I'm literally on, I'm on Mud Island at the bottom of the hill here, and nobody is doing anything. So I don't have any real update other than we're considering, with guidance, what I can do on my property to make it functional. I mean, let's remember, I bought a house on a lake, and this will be the third season without full, reasonable access to it.
Yeah. I don't know what to add at this point.
Yeah. Well, I thank the commission for listening, and, again, sorry for the feedback when I was transferring. Yeah.
I think everybody feels for the situation. I just don't think, I don't know what the commission can do at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. All
What are
right.
the mechanisms within the existing enforcement order, which did require engineered plans, which were not produced?
Right, well, the commission would then have to compel the parties who were enforced against to begin with. And that compelling is usually done in the disincentive of issuing $200 a day fine. And then we get really interesting really fast again to these, to the homeowners association and all the individuals associated with the original enforcement order. And that would get their attention. And the question is, do you have any the will to start issuing fines to these folks?
What would they need to do in order to avoid the fine? What would they need to?
Well, that's
They'd
a good question. Like they would have to rectify the road so that Mr. Moran's property doesn't get washed out.
And are we able to do that on a private road?
That's part of the question, is that those properties are well more than 100 feet away. And at the time that this happened in 2023, that land was not yet cleared.
Right.
And now it's cleared.
And now it's cleared.
Yep.
So.
But it has happened since the clearing. It has happened since the installation of the berm. And the original enforcement order does note that, in fact, I think, was it Art Allen was involved in writing it? Or maybe you were just coming on, Brandon?
Yeah, in fact, I think that this, along with the cubes at Gilboa, was the straw that broke Steve Zick's back and made him retire, because he did not want to deal with this.
Yeah.
And Cubes at Gilboa has a complete certificate of compliance, and we're still dealing with this problem.
But I think the question was, or a question was, were the activities jurisdictional because they're outside the 100-foot buffer zone?
Correct.
But our attorney, both attorneys that I've had, I had two now, the engineers that I've had and the wetlands consultant all cite CMR 310, which is clear. If something outside the buffer zone impacts the wetlands, it becomes jurisdictional. I don't think it's in dispute that something has happened outside the buffer zone that impacted the lake. That's the whole point of this.
Correct. So
this is an enforcement order about the lake, yeah.
You're not wrong, Mr. Moran. So to a certain point up the road, the water was coming down that was contributing to the problem. And Mr. Goodison did a project, did what I call a Swamp Yankee ingenuity project, creating the scuppers, which I think everybody appreciated because at least somebody did something.
He deserves credit for making a good effort, yes.
Right, but it's not, the problem's not completely done because now you go around that bend
And it just goes.
and there's still a little bit more work to be done.
And my slope has suffered significant erosion subsequent to the installation of that berm, yes.
Right.
Which the commission is aware of, and the DEP was present at the site visit in October, where it was very evident, and it continues. I mean, not to the extent that it did, but it continues.
The only thing I can think of is you have to have a lawyer and then like sue them or whatever. I think go through legal.
I'm not going to say you're wrong, Mr. Chairman.
That would be probably the most expensive, but the most easiest way to get whatever you need to get done to be completed, I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong, but.
It's unfortunate that it would have to go that way.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. I think that Mr. Goodison feels like he's done his part, and he doesn't need to do any more. But there's still a little bit more. So, Mr. Moran, who owns the road down around the bend going towards your section that goes down to the lake?
Well, the parcel A is the road, which is owned by Cahill, but, and I'm no lawyer, but I'm learning from some. You know, that apparently each of us owns to the center line of the roadway on a private road.
Right.
So on the downslope side of the road, Mr. Goodison owns, you know, around the bend there.
He owns the outside of the bend, you own the inside of the bend then?
Yeah, and I've made no changes to my property, no significant changes, and single-family homes are exempt from stormwater regulations anyways.
That is true.
And I have to be careful how I say it, I have little appetite to spend 5x the cost of infrastructure, what I'm chasing. And you know, destroying relationships with my neighbors in the course of doing so. You know, I'm still hopeful that this will work out. Maybe I'm a naive idiot, but I still am hopeful. And I want the lake to not have that happen again. That's what this is about for me now. I also want my handicapped wife and mother-in-law to be able to go to the lake down the slope, which I have to rebuild. We knew we would have to rebuild it, but not like this. So.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. And
we'll keep it on the agenda.
Go ahead.
We'll keep it on the agenda.
And anytime it's on the agenda, I will show up.
Okay.
Out of respect for this commission.
Thank you, Bob.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, bye.
Bye. All right, moving on to mail.
Can I just ask a question about that?
No. No, I'm joking.
No, I don't blame you if you do.
No. I was just joking.
Not say anything, but
No. Go for it.
that area is like, all the discussions, my limited experience with it, I didn't really get it till I took a ride down there. That is a very, I fully understand why people would be angry about that. That is a very difficult area. But from the town's perspective, what can the town do if it's a private road? I mean, what do you really do? Have you ever been in a situation like this where it's a private road?
No, I haven't, and there's a lot of private roads in Douglas.
There is a ton.
And so usually what we do is say, okay, this is a town road, get the highway department, the DPW down there and fix it.
Yeah.
But we can't do that at a private road. The private owners have to do it themselves. And they usually say, well, we don't have the money for that. Then what happens? I don't know. I know the town does maintain the road to a certain degree for emergency access purposes. So they plow it, they keep it open. They even will do some minor grading so that, vehicles can get back and forth in case somebody, has a heart attack. But that's about as much as they do. Any major improvements to the road have to be done by the owners of the road themselves. And that's where we're at, is we have a situation where we have major improvements that need to be done to the road. And you have to get the owners to agree to do it, and we've had no agreement.
So this has all been proposed. This is what you need to put money aside to build an infrastructure here to control this drainage problem that everybody who lives there is part owner of. If you drive down and you're like, holy crap, this is like a wide open, I'm sure at one time there were a lot of trees there, but now it's just wide open and just the water must flow down there like a river.
Yeah, and then Mr. Goodison put in those little scuppers, which are those little, did you see those on the left-hand side going down? And that does alleviate a lot of it, but not 100%. I think he's like at 85%, I'd say, maybe even 90%, because he's still going to go around that bend, and there's still a little bit more catchment there. And then that all takes a left-hand turn and goes down Mr. Moran's property, and it's creating a gully.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
So this will maybe never go away until what?
Until there's another big blowout, and then that all that sediment goes down into the lake, and then we give DEP a call, and then they can step in, and then things will really get done. Maybe not fast.
But what's the implement that gets them to get involved? Just because there's a runoff into the lake?
The Conservation Commission has asked DEP to please step in because we've taken it as far as we can.
Right, and they haven't done anything.
And then they haven't done anything since October.
But what would be the push that would get them to be involved?
Another bad event it's another sedimentation event into the lake that they can then view themselves.
Which I'm sure will happen soon, once we have a good rainstorm.
And they have the video that was taken a while back.
Yeah.
They do, and they have all that, but I think they're waiting for this to happen again, fresh, de novo as they call it, so that they can have an event where they can say, okay, we're now going to focus on this new event and take charge. That's what I'm just speculating here, but based on experience, I think that's what they would do.
So more reactive.
Yeah. Otherwise, they're just another overreaching governmental bunch of enviro-Nazis.
What a shame.
Yep. All right, ready for mail?
Yeah, sorry about that.
You're fine. I was just asking.
I feel like Brandon. I just poked the bear and asking all the pool questions. And
That's why I'm here.
All right.
It's not an easy one.
Before we go on to mail, is 218 North West Main Street here? Last call. Online, nobody's there. All right. We'll just postpone that for the next meeting, for June 2nd. All right, so for the mail, we have unilateral administrative order, 206 West Street, Keegan, Van Sickle and Victoria Rucco.
Which one?
For the mail, for the unilateral administrative order.
Oh, so the,
Yes.
so this is 206 West Street, where Mr. Benoit handled the RDAs at one time to save the people of the town of Douglas some money from consultant fees. And so he was in charge of this project. He recommended a negative determination, and DEP looked it over, and they did not like the decision. So they unilaterally recalled the whole application, did their own site inspection, which I think was at the end of February, which I was not at, and they then issued a positive determination saying, if you want to do anything down here, you have to file a notice of intent. And I guess just recently, we have this unilateral administrative order dated 5/5/25, and the highlights are, let's see, March 6th, they issued the positive superseding determination of applicability. And then the respondents conducted work in wetland resource areas without filing a notice of intent and obtaining the final order of conditions. Respondents altered and filled areas subject to protection under the Act and buffer zone on the property without filing an NOI. Then the respondents altered bank on the property without meeting the applicable performance standards. The altered bank by pushing fill consisting of unsorted rock material ranging in size from pebble to boulder onto the bank of the Mumford River, thereby narrowing the width and reach of the river. And then they altered and filled BVW. They removed existing vegetation from the bordering vegetated wetland and placed fill consisting of unsorted rock material on top of a previously vegetated BVW. And then they filled land under waterways and water bodies, consisting of pushed fill of unsorted rock material into the land underwater associated with the Mumford River, thereby narrowing the width and reach of the river. And then they altered and filled riverfront area by removing the existing vegetation and placing the fill of unsorted rock material on top of previously vegetated riverfront area. So according to DEP, they've done a bunch of work that they weren't supposed to do. And I don't know if this happened before or after, because I have never been to this property. And now what they're saying is that within 60 days of this May 5th date, they have to submit to Mass DEP, not the Conservation Commission, but directly to DEP, a report prepared by a qualified wetland scientist evaluating and quantifying the extent of resource area impacts on the property. And that's where they're starting. And if they do not do so, they may be subject to a civil administrative penalty up to $25,000 a day.
Just $25K a day.
Yeah, once you get to the DEP level, they get serious.
So there's really nothing for us to do.
There's nothing for us to do.
Okay.
That's just
Knowledge.
for your knowledge.
And they're aware, I imagine?
Don't know. This got sent to them by certified mail.
Okay.
So from a learning experience perspective, is it never in the board's best interest to have someone in Matt's position do this?
In my humble opinion, yes. You should be an expert in wetlands in the Wetlands Protection Act. Otherwise, things like this can happen.
Yeah, the $25,000.
Well, you know, I think that Mark said it before. It feels like the town let these folks down.
Yeah.
Made the wrong decision, and now they're in this position, which is very unfortunate. So, you know, might sound a little. I don't know, what's the word? And someone like me should have been reviewing RDAs and NOIs and ANRADs and all that stuff.
Well, but even if you had, if these people still did they had violations.
I presume that they did, but I've never been to the site. And nobody picked up on that. And I don't know how, because they're not trained in this.
Wait, weren't the violations all since?
That's what I assumed as well, that they were post-Matt,
Yeah.
thinking he gave them approval.
Yeah, that might have been it. They thought that they had approval,
Yeah.
then they went and did the work and then got stopped.
Right.
And now they're dealing with this, and they're going to have to, probably going to have to end up putting Humpty Dumpty back together, unfortunately.
But that wouldn't, if you had done this,
I think that I would have caught on and recommended a positive determination. Saying-
because you would have seen it during construction, you mean?
No, I would have identified where the BVW is, where the riverfront area is, known the regulation, what you can and can't do in the riverfront area, and said, this is never going to work. You need to change your plan, file a notice of intent.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? We have one more last thing I missed, sorry. I think it's him. Request for a certificate of compliance, number 6, for DP number 1430762 for Brian Burnett, 71 U Street, map 214, lot 15. Anyone here for that? Come on up. Just state, you can have a seat and just state your name and address, please.
Brian Burnett, 71 U Street, Douglas.
This is for certificate of compliance for the construction of a Title V septic repair.
Not that I'm aware, septic repair now.
Well, what is it for then?
We did an addition in 2010. So it's
This is condition
looking
of
for sign off on
upgrade.
orders of condition.
Okay, I have a letter here dated April 9, 2025, but from Bruce Wilson, saying, "Dear Commission members, on behalf of the current owners of the property at 71 U Street, I respectfully request that the Conservation Commission issue a certificate of compliance in order to close out the open order conditions for the septic upgrade."
It's not a septic upgrade. You guys requested order of conditions sign off. You didn't request it from me. I went for a loan for a bank,
Okay.
and it wasn't signed off back in 2010.
Okay, all right, so now let's look at this one. Well, this is what was on the form.
Okay,
And the letter.
the engineer didn't do that properly.
Okay, well, good to know.
It looks like it was edited, that.
Yeah, it does.
for
It's
the
a different
septic
print.
upgrade,
Septic
is
was
a
already
different
done a long time ago, yeah.
font size, but
Oh, yeah. It looks like it was a copy and paste.
yeah.
Bruce does a lot of septic work, so that might have been like
A boilerplate.
boilerplate.
Yeah.
He didn't
Okay.
do anything with it. That might have been,
Is that on me?
well, that might have been what happened.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
seems reasonable. Okay, so let's look at this.
So where is the actual,
Brandon's looking it up right now.
oh,
Looks
okay.
like you guys waived the as-built and a red line and just we're requesting a letter, looking for the application and a letter of veracity from an engineer that the project was built in substantial compliance with the OC and stamped.
Right, and then we end up getting the.
Okay, yeah,
the letter.
yeah, no, I understand that.
And we got this with the as-built of the septic system.
Okay,
Okay? So if that's not what it was for, then somebody has to go back to the drawing board and come back.
so,
Because I get a letter of veracity, but it's for the septic system. We need a letter of veracity for the addition.
well, maybe it's not for the addition, maybe it is for the septic system. Do you need a letter of veracity for the addition?
Well, yeah, if you're going to do the addition, if that was part of the order of conditions, which goes.
Was it part of the order of conditions?
I don't even know, this was so long ago.
I know that.
I was
know.
wondering what the order of
2010
conditions
guys.
says.
Right.
Believe it, you know what I mean?
Right, that was like 15 years ago. What was in that order of conditions? Was it for just the septic system? Was it for the addition?
I didn't think it was for anything. A bank told me I needed an order of conditions for the addition. Make sure it was built and not went into the wetlands.
Okay, so let's take a look. Recorded order of conditions. I have a copy of that. let's take a look.
Didn't bring cookies today.
Could have used some.
My wife traveled.
Excuses.
I know, tell me about it.
What was wrong with you?
You don't want any cookies I make, believe me.
You know, Mike enjoys the treats.
I make great box opening cookies. That's about it. Open up the box and grab them.
I'm finding no information here, the qualitative information that would tell me what was going on here. The only thing I would,
So maybe I don't need any sign-offs from you guys.
and why are we here?
I don't know.
As
The
built,
town didn't tell me I needed a sign-off. The bank
order of
told me.
conditions plan. Okay, here's the order of conditions plan. All right. So this is the plan that was created by Seth LaJoy back in 2007. That sound right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Proposed garage, okay. Right there. Oh, you see that? Proposed garage, right there. There's nothing to do with the septic system here.
Yeah, so,
So you needed it for that addition.
Okay.
Well, I went to the site today. I saw the garage. Now, looking at this limit of work here, let me bring up the pictures showing, I went and took a picture of that.
don't forget to share.
Well, the septic looks different.
I'd say that the line in that plan showing the limit of work and where everything was built is consistent with what the plan says. So let me go back to the plan. So burn that into your memory.
Okay, burnt.
And I was standing about right, you see my cursor?
Yep.
Looking this way. I'd say if you lined up the limit of work on the left-hand side, if so, looking back, it would be the left-hand side where this dash line is. I'd say that's all pretty consistent with what I saw.
Where are the garage doors? They, right there?
Yeah,
This is the garage doors. right
Okay,
here.
got it.
just flipping it.
Yeah. Honestly, this, I would recommend just issuing the certificate of compliance based on what I saw today, and based on this plan.
So do we,
I don't think it's worth it.
okay. Do we just sign?
I
Do we-
recommend just, you're going to get the same answer.
Okay. Someone want to make a motion?
So what are we motioning for? We're going to accept the,
We're going to issue, so the motion would be to issue a certificate of compliance for 71 U Street and DEP file 143-0762.
okay, we don't have to get any more detail than that.
Correct.
I make a motion to grant the certificate of compliance for 71 U Street, DEP file 143-762.
471.
Second.
So a first by Brandon and a second by Mike for certificate of compliance for DP 143-0762 for 71 U Street, map 214, lot 15. Roll call, please.
Brendan Doyle, aye?
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Crocop,
Jim Forney.
Thanks for being honest.
Very good.
Good night.
I'm always honest. What do you mean? I don't know what you say. Have a good one, guys.
You too.
All right, appreciate it.
Good luck at the
Do I need
bank.
anything in the mail? Will you guys send me anything?
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Good luck at the bank.
What'd you say?
Good luck at the bank, if you have to go back.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, anything for me to sign?
Yeah. 71 U Street right here.
Thank you.
You'll know.
I don't have to go back, by the way.
Oh, good, good, I'm glad.
More confused than when I came here.
We have one last thing left
The
to
only
do
thing I'm
on the
not confused
agenda.
about is the pool filter.
Yeah, I know you're.
We should at least accomplish one of the,
Meeting minutes?
yes.
Oh,
I
yeah,
have one.
so Jen has said it would be great if you could get through as many minutes as you can.
All right, so we'll just do them all
Do them all.
I have the first one.
for March 17th.
February 3rd.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Item 6, it's just 3 minor edits. But,
Okay, no, that's fine.
Item 6, it says Adam Furno was not able to attend the meeting, and Matt Benoit stated that this, and it's just missing the word is, an old order of conditions. And
Okay.
then item 7, the Mass Trails grant, it's referred to twice, and it's one word, the Mass Trails, and then the second time it's referenced, it's just missing an S.
Okay.
In trails, and then I don't know how detailed we want to get, but there's
Go for
just in item 10 there's a apostrophe missing from conservations to show ownership in the conservation's jurisdiction.
Okay.
I spend my days doing this. So
That's,
I might
no,
get
hey, you know what?
I am never submitting anything to her that I have written.
I know, I'm like,
Nothing.
all right, so do I need to make a motion for that?
Yes.
Make a motion to make the changes that were stated for February 3rd, 2025. Oh,
I second.
I'm sorry, I can't make the motion.
It's okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the Conservation Commission meeting minutes from Monday, February 3rd, as edited by Kate.
Do I have a second?
Second. Nope.
Yep.
No, you can't.
All right, we have a first by Brandon and a second by Michael. Roll call.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Thorne, aye. Did you do the other ones too?
No, I didn't have, I did
Oh.
have them, but not until a couple days ago.
All right.
I don't have a chance.
Who types these up?
Don't know.
Stephanie.
Oh, okay.
Says her name at the bottom.
Oh, yes, it does. Good call.
You're welcome.
Does she just listen to our meeting after?
It has to. Type it up.
Like the worst nightmare.
Yeah, I wouldn't have patience for that.
How's that?
That looks all good.
So I've been Samantha all night.
Yes,
you
that's
have.
what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That's why I said you weren't as good looking.
Here and on the screen.
So confusing.
Yeah, it's real confusing, yes.
I'd just like to highlight item 13 from March 3rd, where we had a heroic request for the budget of $5,000.
Oh, yeah? You're welcome. It's 7,500 now.
Amazing.
I know.
What is this for?
Oh, oh, that's right, you weren't here. Samantha was here. Nobody wanted to ask for money for the budget, but I spoke up and I was like, let's go for 10 grand, and they're like, no, we can't do that, and I was like, why not? Got $7,500.
You get $7,500 for your Wetlands Protection Act budget?
Yes.
To do stuff like training and purchasing minor stuff and
Yep,
whatever?
signs or whatever, or help out with, yep,
Isn't that awesome?
Nice job.
thank you. These were all chickens out here. They didn't want to go up that high.
Jim was a rooster.
You got that right. I was like, let's go for it.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from March 3rd.
Second.
All right, so,
Miss every ball you don't swing at.
okay, I just totally drew a blank, oh my God.
Motion.
Thank you, a motion for the March 3rd
March
meeting
3rd.
notice for Brandon, second by Kate. Roll call.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Farr and I. I already went. I didn't see anything on the other one, did you? That's it. As soon as they, when we signed everything tonight?
Pretty sure.
I think so.
Everything came by me, I signed.
Okay.
Reluctant, the first one I did reluctantly, but
Oh, you mean to pay for the nice guy over here?
yeah, it was all those bills.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
You're
Be
welcome.
more.
are you impressed? $7,500?
Oh, yeah? I am. Let's go glory.
Right, that's what I thought.
No brains, no blue chips.
They just keep coming. When's it coming out next? Knuffle or fnuffle, whatever that word was.
Enough is
Kerfuffle.
enough.
Kerfuffle.
Well, my thought is,
I did ask somebody, I mentioned that to somebody, I was out at dinner one night with a group.
Yeah.
And I said, has anybody ever heard that? And they're like, of course we have. It's like, so I'm the only one, apparently.
no, you're not.
Well, I spent 4 years, my work-study job at UMass Amherst was at Hillel House, which is the Jewish Community Center. I was their janitor.
Oh,
So you
okay.
learned all the lingo.
I learned all the lingo, and my boss, Marjorie Meltzer, she taught them all to me.
Amazing.
I was her mishpucha.
I don't want to know what that means.
Explains a lot.
My boobala.
Are we good?
Yeah.
You want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the meeting
Minutes.
from Monday, March 17th.
A second?
I have a first by Kate, a second by Brandon to approve the minutes for March 17th.
Don't insult the man, it's Brendan.
Brendan.
Whatever.
sorry.
I've been called much worse, don't worry.
Roll call, please.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Farr and I.
Call him late for dinner.
Don't worry. Does someone want to make a motion?
Make a motion to end the meeting?
Oh my God.
The gavel?
Not yet. No, it has to be technical.
A motion
Call
to
the meeting.
To adjourn.
adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a
Second.
first by Brendan and second by Kate? Roll call, please.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Farr and I.
There we go. I said